Hey guys, Kate here, going live for the second time about how volunteering makes the world go round up there in that title. I can't work out the mirror image. The first time I did it out in the garden here, which was absolutely beautiful, was an awesome live, I must say, but the connection wasn't great. And when I watched it back, I go all fuzzy and I can't hear anything that I'm saying. So here we go for round two. So I just wanted to do a little live about volunteering and including in volunteering fundraising because it's a massive part of my life, and up until recently I hadn't realised that. And what made me realise that recently was a few different people that mentioned it to me, telling me, wow, look at all the charity work you do and blah, blah, blah. And I don't do it for the praise, and that's not why I'm doing this live either. It's more for the awareness, because actually what I've realised is to me it's as natural as brushing my teeth, and I just presumed everyone does it, and it's part of what makes the world turn, as I say, and apparently not. And a few people have been asking me questions about how they can get involved in things as well, the various charities that I do work for, or fundraising and stuff that I do work for, and or just generally how can they get involved in fundraising while they travel, or while they're at home, whatever. So that's why I'm doing this live, just to tell you guys a little bit more about it. So to start off with, I just thought I'd have a look at the in the Oxford Dictionary about the definition, so the actual real life definition of a volunteer or volunteering. So it's a person who freely offers to take part in an enterprise or undertake a task, and a person who works for an organisation without being. So for me, it's serving others without expecting anything in return, and not expecting any outcome or anything. And I think that's why I hadn't really thought about it too much, about how much of a big part of my life it was, because I never expected anything in return. It's just what I do. I love it. It's really heaps of fun, and the people that I meet, I guess, is a big part of it as well, and that's why. So I guess I am surrounded by a lot of people that do volunteer, but the more that I get around and meet people around the world, and that they're surprised at what I'm doing. So it's really humbling to be like that. But hey, let me use my skill of helping others to inform some people that might not know too much about how to get involved in volunteering, and that's what I'm doing here. So I do it to serve others, obviously, help everyone else out with what I can provide. So that's my time and my skills, usually, sometimes my money as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about skills later on in this live, because it really doesn't take a lot just to get started in volunteering. If you have specialist skills, great, but just as much we need people without specialist skills. So how I'm going to break down this live is just break it up into local, national and global sorts of volunteering or fundraising, and some examples, so just to stir your brains and see where you might be able to help out if you're looking to. So locally, you'll always find volunteer work available or fundraising within schools or community groups, sporting events, things like that. So some examples of that in New Zealand and Australia, we have sausage sizzles, possibly other places in the world too. So that's where on the weekends you go down to your local DIY store, and there'll be a group of people outside with a barbecue cooking up some sausages, chuck them on a piece of bread with some tom sauce, and that's lunch for me most weekends. Couple of bucks, and that goes directly towards whatever it is that they're fundraising for. So school camp, an overseas trip, somebody's health journey, anything like that. Sausage sizzles, raffles are the same. Car washes are really, really big as well. Some local campaigns usually always being run online, and fun runs, hair shaves, things like that. So locally, that's how you can get involved. And an example of a local organisation that I do some work for at home in Wellington, although it's been a while, but I'd love to give them a shout out, is Project Boost. So Project Boost is an epic charity that does some work in Wellington Children's Ward in the hospital, where volunteers after a day's training can volunteer their time based on their own availability. So every Saturday and Sunday we have a couple of volunteers go into the kids ward and play board games, do arts and crafts, colouring in, tell jokes, whatever it is, with the kids that are stuck in hospital over the weekend. So It's a really, really cool opportunity to give back, and it doesn't take a lot of your time. It might be 2 hours once a month, whatever it is. So those in Wellington that want to get involved with that, let me know. What I'll do is, with all the charities that I'm giving shout outs to, I'll pop them into the comments afterwards, and you can have a look into them. If you'd like to know anything more from me from a personal perspective, just give me a shout. So that's local. At a national level, you can get involved with charities, national charities, and organisations. So back home, there's, well, globally actually, they are Lions clubs, Rotary clubs, Freemasons that do a lot of work in the community, volunteering in return for funds that they can then hand out to various charities and organisations and things. And they really do make the world turn, those organisations, and without them there would be a lot of things that haven't happened in my life, and a lot of things that wouldn't happen on a national community level as well. So big shout out to the Lions and Rotary and Freemasons clubs. I've probably forgotten some there as well, but shout out to all those kind of clubs. At a national level, you'll also find campaigns and awareness weeks. So every single week in New Zealand, there's a campaign for something. So Red Nose Day, Daffodil Day, whatever it is, campaigning for some kind of cause. And you can just, walk past someone in the street and drop some money in. You could be one of the people that holds the bucket on the street. That's volunteering. Easy, right? For an hour. You could help out with organising some events. So there's like pink ribbon, breast cancer awareness breakfasts, long lunches, all sorts of things that you can do. Lots and lots of fun at a national level to help out. You could also, all of these national charities and things have boards and committees. You could join one of those if you have a little bit more spare time and you want to help out more regularly. I'm involved with, massive shout out here to Camp Quality. I have been for over 10 years, and I sit on their regional committee for the Wellington Central Districts, and I help out with a bit of fundraising towards camp, and then on camp, which is once a year for a week in January, I go along as staff now. So help out with absolutely anything and anything, cleaning up, creating mess, organising hair and makeup for the disco, getting people in line for food, anything like that is what I help out with on camp. So that's at a national level, Camp Quality, and I'll talk a little bit more about the skills that we require for that kind of charity afterwards as well. And then at a global level, so a lot of these charities are international, and so from home you could be working at a global level, but when you travel as well, some people love to give back when they travel, and that's definitely a massive part of what I love to do as well. So you could help out with NGO organisations, so non-government organisations that do charity work in communities. A lot of them are based on the ground within the areas, underprivileged areas, or whatever it is, working in orphanages, local villages, building wells, all those sorts of things. Just one thing to note when you do that, you'll usually spend quite a lot of money to be able to go and help out for a week or whatever it is you're doing in those charities. So you just want to make sure that they are registered and licensed organisations, because God forbid that you spend all that money and it goes to some big wig sitting in London in a 4-wheel drive, rather than directly to on the ground helping out. So you need to do your research on that and look into it before you do anything like that. You can help out in disaster relief depending on your skills, although it requires an array of skills, which I'll talk about in a sec. And you can help out in the education, health, environment sectors when you're traveling globally as well. So, volunteering while you're traveling is becoming one of the biggest trends in the travel sector, and the travel industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. So it's growing really, really fast, and so more and more opportunities for people to be able to give back while they travel, which is awesome. Two of my favorite things. So an example of global is right now I'm traveling. I'm in Guatemala, and I have quite a lot of time on my hands, free time on my hands, and so I just looked up what's going on here in terms of volunteering. Now, as so happens, there was a volcano that erupted a month ago here, and although I wasn't here during that time, there's still a lot of relief work going on for that. So I've been helping out in the kitchen, and shout out to Chefs for Guatemala, which is a locally run organisation that is helping prepare food for the victims and the survivors and the relief workers that are on the ground closer to the volcano, not here in Antigua. And they've got volunteers going in there every day, and it's really awesome, and they're just feeding like thousands and thousands of meals have gone out. I think they're up to like 10,000 or 100,000 meals have gone out since the volcano erupted a month ago. And it's hot meals. I've never seen so much rice in one pot in my life. Amazing. And as well as sandwiches and fruit and things like that. So what I've been doing is helping out in the kitchen there here in Antigua, making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cutting papaya, slicing cheese. I sliced over 1,000 slices of cheese the other day on the cheese slicer. And stuff like that. So that's really, really simple for me to do. I just turn up for a couple of hours, 3-4 hours at a time, do that and leave again. And that's helping out at a global scale, right? That's something I wouldn't have the opportunity to do from home. And so that's really awesome. So that's examples of the types of charity work you can do. There's a whole lot more. Like obviously people do on the fundraising sector a lot more. You know, if you're really adventurous, you might be doing you know, fun runs or walks, or people walk the length of New Zealand, people do big cycles, ultra marathons, things like that as well, which is really awesome, and always towards epic causes as well. So so the skills that I talked about that are involved, so absolutely anything. So people might think that, oh no, I can't help out in a charity because you know, I'm not a nurse or a doctor or a whatever it is, I can't drive a truck, you know, things like that. But actually, let me tell you the array of skills within the charities that I do work with. So for Camp Quality, we take, within the Wellington region, we take 70 children, 70 adults away for 1 week every summer. The children are all living with cancer. And the types of volunteers that we require are companions. So we match each children up one-on-one with a staff member, with a companion, an adult companion. They have to attend a training weekend, and then they're matched up with the child if the match is right, and then we all go to camp for a week. So that's the dedication involved in that. No money required, just your time. Then we require staff throughout the year. As I said, I do a little bit of fundraising throughout the year for Camp Quality, and I sit on the committee, so I have to attend meetings throughout the year. And then on camp, I'm staff as well. So I just help out with absolutely anything and everything that needs to happen at camp. And that's, like I say, from cleaning up to setting up arts and crafts to organising a water balloon fight, all sorts of things like that. So staff on and off camp. Off camp, we require treasurers, so anyone that's great with accounting. We by the way, not all these positions are open right now, but just to give you some examples. On camp, we require photographers, videographers, nurses. All these people volunteer their time to come on camp for a week, which is incredible, right? Then other charity work that I do, you know, we have people that are drivers. We do have medical professionals, accounting professionals, like I mentioned. Anyone that can count anything, that's what we always require. If you're counting sandwiches in a tray, or you're counting, I don't know, how many pens are in this container, things like that. Sandwich making, anyone can make a sandwich, right? That's what I'm doing at the moment. Oh my God, so much peanut butter. Cleanups, you know, cleaning up, driving sick children to the hospital, whatever it is. Strong men, oh my God, at Camp Quality, we need strong men. Like, we need people that can just lug a, I don't know, bouncy castle, or put up a bouncy castle, put something in the trailer, or can carry heavy things. That's what we always need for Camp Quality. So there's some examples of some skills, guys. So it's such an array, you know, whatever you've got, you can bring to the party. And you don't always know what your skill is. You know, who knew that I was so good at slicing cheese? I'm really good at slicing cheese. So anyway, that's kind of the nuts and bolts of volunteering, I think. I can't believe that I've just talked for 15 minutes about volunteering. Like, it's obviously something I'm very passionate about, when I can just rattle it off like that, and hopefully I haven't bored you too much. Another big shout out that I want to give, so I've given shout outs to Project Boost, which is locally in Wellington Hospital, Camp Quality New Zealand, which is the charity that I'm involved with back home in New Zealand, the Chefs for Guatemala, which is the chef relief cooking relief fund that's happening here in Antigua and Guatemala. And the other one that I want to give a shout out to is World Ventures Foundation. So as you guys know, I love to travel, and some of you may know that I'm part of a travel club, and an awesome part of our travel club is being part of the World Ventures Foundation. So the World Ventures Foundation have been around for quite a few years already, and do things all over the world, have opportunities for the people in their travel club to do stuff all over the world to give back. So our logo is a heart to serve, and that's what everyone that's involved is all about, giving back. So again, we do local events, national events, and global events. Some of the awesome work that's happening is building basketball courts in underprivileged communities in the States, a safe area for children to hang out, building bottle schools here in Guatemala. That's one of the massive initiatives that they do. So they've built over 110 schools here in Guatemala, and the reason they're called bottle schools is because the insulation of the school is filled with plastic Coke bottles stuffed with rubbish. So not only does it clean up the community, but it also provides insulation and a school for an education for a child, and therefore children thereafter that haven't had the opportunity otherwise. And we do awesome just cleanups and painting fences and all that sort of stuff in communities in the areas where we travel and where the club is open for business. So an epic opportunity that we have coming up in the World Ventures Foundation is we're going to stretch out the bottle schools to Indonesia. So those that love Bali and love to give back, heads up on this. Next year we're hoping to be able to start building some schools there, and we're just starting to do some fundraising towards that now. So if you would love to be involved in the fundraising for the bottle schools and or come along and help us build the bottle schools, I'm looking for some awesome fun people to do that with. I definitely will be getting over there myself, and I'd love to bring some friends over with me. So give me a yell if you're interested in that, and we'll get started. And otherwise, have an amazing week, everybody. I hope this has proved valuable to those that are looking to do some volunteering. Give me a shout if there's anything that you'd love to know, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Cheers, guys.